I wanted to like talk about next before we head into some fighting game stuff, and we'll try to like compress it down like a little bit, homies, is that we got a little bit of news about Project L, League of Legends, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite / Power Rangers Battle for the Grid fighting game that will be like, is like on the horizon. We haven't got like a release date, but supposedly got more info. Not like an actual video from the Project L devs, but from someone on Twitter by the name of GamerB. He said, I was invited to the Project L banquet held by Riot in Japan. Recording was not allowed, but they says we can share what we heard. They showcased a new video and answered many player questions. So let's start, right? The development team showcased a new gameplay trailer and answered many questions. Here are some key points recorded, which may be a bit messy. Please forgive me. Feel free to leave a message for any questions and I will share what I know with everybody. Project L aims to pass on the fighting game genre to the next generation and increase the fighting game community, but that does not mean they will abandon old players. Therefore, Project L will be a game that allows players to put all their passion into it, but does not want to set the threshold too high and scare off the new players. That's actually really good, right? This is definitely like the approach for Guilty Gear Strive and fucking Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, right? For Guilty Gear specifically, I mean, they've been doing fighting games ever since like the OG like Guilty Gear. Strive's whole gimmick was that we are going to make a game that's going to be completely for new fans and will draw in new fans to the fighting game genre, but will not abandon old players in the process, right? It will still feel familiar. There's going to be new stuff, but there's still like familiarity with some of these like games, right? So that's good, right? We need more players into like fighting games, right? Because we are a niche community. We are a niche genre compared to like JRPGs and fucking some of the popular shits that are out there in modern day consoles and PCs, right? So it's literally, not to sound like spiteful, not fair, right? Because I love fighting games and I want like more people to get into like the craft. Fighting games are super fun. But a lot of times with fighting games is that they can be very stressful and anxiety ridden to new players that want to like jump in and play. Either, you know, the mechanics or watching like a fighting game can be like a little bit overwhelming. There's no like proper like ranked system. Sometimes you'll get ranked with like, you know, someone bigger than you and you won't be able to like learn. It's a little bit of a fucking difficulty spike, right? When it comes to, in terms of like fighting games, right? But Project L is, you know, aiming for that threshold by, you know, of course, based on what we know, there are not going to be any motion inputs. There's not going to be fireball forwards, fireball backs, DPs, all that stuff. There's going to be like battle for the grid style like moves. Light meat, there'll be a light and heavy, and there'll be like assists, right? So it's going to be relatively simple and it's going to be relatively accessible, right? Simple, but it will have a lot more depth if you choose to go on that like learning curve, you know? It is confirmed that the game will be free to play, obviously, right? Because it's Riot. They always make their shit free to play. This is like a known given. They want to create a 2v2 game with speed, distinct visuals, powerful attacks, and an easy to understand defense and counter system, right? The system should be easy to pick up, but also have depth of research. Project L will be a permanent version of a fighting game officially called a live surface, which means there won't be a sequel, but continuous updates. Ooh, that is a little bit concerning, right? Because for live service games, it can go like 50-50, but it's very synonymous to gamers that when they hear like a live service, they think of like, ugh, yuck, no live service, please. I don't want my game to be like a fucking like gacha and like constantly like gamble or like spend IRL money for this game. No, they will integrate the world the world of League of Legends into the fighting game's perspective, adding new elements and selecting characters suitable for fighting game. For 140 champions, over 140 characters in League of Legends alone. So that's gonna be a fucking hurdle, right? It's gonna be fucking impossible. The biggest roster that we have seen for a fighting game is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, capping it off at like almost 100 characters, to be more specific, maybe like 95 at best, at most. But rosters like that don't come by every so often, right? Relatively, the max like roster you can have in like a fighting game nowadays is like at most 20, right? Especially for like anime fighters, because you know they have their work cut out for them. They got to make unique and distinct visuals that go along with the gameplay. So it's tough enough as it is. In the demo video, oh, there's a demo video called Retreating Guard, which cancels backdash while in defense. If the opponent swings and misses, they can be countered. They can be countered from a farther distance if they anticipate the retreating guard move. This means retreating guard has an unavoidable vulnerability. Oh, really? So you have like a, what was it? A guard cancel that leads into a backdash. I don't know how I feel about that, right? League of Legends has like some zoning characters, right? And if you give them like the tool to like, you know, if there is going to be like some advancing guard, but is this going to be like advancing guard or a different or another advancing guard method, right? We have advancing guard and there's going to be retreating guard. So they'll essentially like back away, not like push the opponent back, but you yourself will be back away. I mean, I guess it could go both ways, right? Like if you're trapped in the corner and you have nowhere like to go, right? Then that could be very risky. But if they're like in like mid-screen, okay, I see that's good. But it still feels like a little bit it still feels a little bit weird. No, it still feels a little bit perplexing to have like a retreating guard, you know? Normal moves can be canceled into a jump chain combo or a ground chain combo. So like Marvel vs. Capcom, yeah, we've seen. Many different defensive systems, but they have not yet been showcased. Character assist during a combo. Players can switch. Yeah, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Yep. That's what we know. Need not worry, as Project L will not be a game that is too easy. There will be depth for skilled players to explore, of course. Yes! There won't be any CC-like moves. Yeah, that's good. God bless. God fucking bless, right? Because that's like the most striking thing about League of Legends is that, you know, it's a game that like if you can like pop off with like a fucking like ADC champion or a tank champion, and if you let them like get all their like stacks in or their stuff in, they can definitely like dominate the game, right? So there's this built-in thing called CC which allows them to stun and like, you know, prevent them from gaining like advantage, right? You can stop them for like a little bit, but it's still fucking annoying, and I've been in the rear end of like CC a lot of times. Fucking one brain cell ass fucking Morgan to throw out the fucking spell and then like creates like the goddamn like puddle. I hate that bitch. Fucking there will be a pro esports environment, and some may worry that official tournaments will displace community events. Therefore, there will be a limit on official tournaments and community tournaments. And community tournaments can use L to organize events. This paragraph is saying like, will it be like, you know, Project L would have their own tournament series, and it would not, and it's asking to not interfere with official League of Legends tournament series? Oh shit, okay. Alright, I'm gonna have to like hold up like this recording for a bit. Pro esports environment, and some may worry that the official tournaments will displace community events. Therefore, there will be a limit on official See, I'm a little bit confused right that. I might have to like reply him back or if this person like sees this video, then I want like some clarification, right? So he's saying that there will be a pro esports scene for Project L, and he says like some will have like worries that these like tournaments will displace community events. So like official community League of Legends events, is that's what's the slight worry is? Will like Project L take away some of like the core aspects of League of Legends like tournaments? Is that what's gonna happen? Because I think like, you know, it's not gonna be like taken away, right? Project L is still like a fighting game, and still the number one game that's played unanimously overall is like the actual like League of Legends like IP, right? So I don't think it's gonna like make the original disappear. Rather, it's gonna have like, you know, more people getting into it, right? Because, you know, it's still like League of Legends. There's still people that are gonna be on it. It's not gonna be like one goes to the other, you know, sort of thing. 2v2 fighting games have always been difficult to succeed, but they still want to give it a try. Even if people don't like it at first, they can continue to update it until everybody is satisfied. Oh, that's, man, this is kind of like the most sweetest like things that I've heard from the Project L devs, is that they're very considerate of not only trying to like go for new genres of gaming besides Valorant and League of Legends, right? Because, you know, those communities make their games stronger, right? But they want to like branch out, so even branching out can be a little bit of a scary thing to not only like devs but also to fans, right? Because, you know, there could be like hardcore fans that only really like that specific genre and they do not want that genre to go to, they do not want that company of that genre to go into different genres, you know what I mean? So it could be pretty of a difficult task on devs to just like make that outreach, you know? But Project L is trying to be sincere and earnest with their approach in their fighting game, right? So it still is cool to hear that they are pushing for a fighting game, right? They'll still continue on despite like negative criticisms that some hardcore fans might have. So that's cool. Someone asked about the things that make opponents hate low height characters and whether Teemo will appear, and the official answer is that you are good at guessing, but not giving a direct answer. Teemo is like, even though he's like a disgusting champion for placing traps like on the field, but he still feels like an integral part of the League of Legends like roster, right? Whether it be good or bad, right? It's just it's how it is, right? Riot's esports competitions are not famous for high prize money, but there are professional regions around the world where players can earn a salary to live on. Therefore, Project L hopes to make players become stars instead of simply giving high prize money, because star players can earn more money through endorsements or sponsorships. Rather than having big competitions at the beginning, they hope to first ensure that players are satisfied with the game and then focus on building an esports environment. I guess I can see that. Yeah, like, again, very like sensitive approach to League of Legends, right? League of Legends 2 Project L, right? Is that not a lot of people will be getting into like, you know, fighting games, right? So they want to get them situated first before thinking that like they're the number one hotshot around, right? And the thing about like, you know, high prize money, right? I mean, of course, you know, FGC will possibly be taking a turn for the better in terms of FGC like prize money, because ever since like the announcement of the next Capcom Pro Tour, which will have like Street Fighter 6 and will have a $2 million like prize pool, FGC tournaments will have more will have bigger prize pools than they ever were because of company backing. Well, specifically for Street Fighter 6, it has like Sony backing, but it will start to make people recognize that, you know, fighting games are a growing culture. Fighting game community is a growing community, and the fighting game genre is a growing culture. There are lots of esports hype moments from fighting games, and it should be noted that, you know, fighting games are definitely worth the money spending on. Well, that would be totally up to like you, but spending a plane ticket to go to that tournament and watching that tournament, but also like to players if they can get high enough in the top 8 like bracket to succeed and take that fucking trophy, right? Yeah, and that's like kind of like a good thing. Now that I like go back to this like paragraph, is that, you know, a player can like earn a salary to like live on, and you know, that's another thing, is that despite what many people say about like, you know, playing video games for fun and you could like earn money is a sweet gig, but before Street Fighter 6 prize pool, a lot of like fighting games were just like poverty events. Yo, you wanna play fucking, let's say like Street Fighter 4 for instance, right? You would have like a 25,000 like prize pool, or even like worse, like back in the day, maybe like 2.5k prize pool. That's like fucking getting going into like a college like tournament, and you get like $100 like gift card for Barnes and Noble. It's good for like Project L to like break down these like components and make people going into like Project L become more what's the right word, practical, right? That they're not in it just to like, it's not going to be like an easy fighting game. It's going to be easy to learn, hard to master. So you're not going to be #1 best in the world. There will be other players that are better than you, and if you are golden, then you could become like a star. You get like that infamy, right? It's cool to like have that infamy, but you know, it's not just, you know, for the money. It's like if you love the game, and the money is like a side piece, you know. So that's cool. L hopes to create a game that players can identify from their actions, so there may be summoner skills for players to choose. Wait, what? What is this exactly trying to say, right? Like, is it that over the course of a round, will there be like, you know, a Dragon Ball Fighters-esque thing that they will summon like a Dragon Ball, or there's gonna be like pre-made like items for you to have on the field of battle, like a fucking smite or some shit like that, or a flash? Is that what this is trying to say? I don't get like the gist of this one right here, right? But I'll probably like ask him and like give like a reply on Twitter, or maybe he'll like see my video, hopefully, and can get like a better like understanding. The comeback system, when only one character is left to be hit and has not yet been decided whether to be made, such as X Factor, depending on which players prefer in future voting, with or without comeback elements. Oh, that's interesting, right? Comeback mechanics are kind of like they're 50-50 in terms of like, you know, how many games have like a comeback mechanic. I know the few games that do have a comeback mechanic are Marvel 3, Blaze Blue, and Dragon Ball Fighters. The one that doesn't have like a comeback, well, no, Battle for the Grid does have a comeback mechanic, right? But Marvel 2 didn't have that. I don't think Skullgirls had like a comeback mechanic. I'm trying to like recollect, but I don't think there aren't any, right? But it's good to note that, right? Because, you know, comeback mechanics are kind of like 50-50 in the modern like fighting game realm. It's kind of like some people may think like it's a bullshit ass mechanic, like Tekken, for instance, to have like rage arts, to have like supers that not only does the character have like rage and does more damage when they're like 25% or less health, but they also have access to a one hit or two hit armor move that they can like throw out and deal lots of damage for one button, you know? Or like X Factor, right? Makes characters incredibly OP at the cost of nothing if they're like one character, right? It doesn't take much skill to use X Factor. It can, right? But regions will have different servers, so players close to the server will have better connections. Unlike other fighting games that only use... There's currently no consideration for a character leveling system like original League, but it may have been added if players like it. It may be added if players like it. I don't know. Like, I don't think there should be like a leveling system. It would be kind of like cool, but I think they should like go with just like special, then super, then ultra. Special, then ultra. Or like super, yeah. Something like that. I don't think there should be like a leveling system. That would be pretty unique and interesting because, you know, League is all about starting off at like level 6 and then you get all the way to like level 18 or some shit like that. But I don't know how well that will work in like in a fighting game sense. Much less, is there like a leveling system? Oh no, there is. There's a fucking, what was that one game? Red Earth? Red Earth from Capcom had like a leveling system. It's like a JRPG, but in a fighting game sense. So I could possibly see that work, but traditionally speaking, I don't think it would be necessary to have like a leveling system. Just give like the characters like flat out, and the characters can like go nuts with it. The leveling is like the amount of like Yomi death that you can do for a League of Legends champ in Project L. Hopes to create a game where players can interact with each other in a conversational way rather than characters being overly violent and causing the weaker side to be completely unable to act. This will also be a live service game, so player dissatisfaction can be adjusted with patches. Oh shit. They're already addressing like the fucking the toxic components of League of Legends, right? Can interact in a conversational way. What conversational way? We call each other's like F words and N words, and like, you know, that's the League like climate. It is the toxic game for a reason, but it's a Marvel game, so if you get like touched, you're dead. It depends on like how many touches you get in Project L. Will it be like a 2 touch of death? Will it be a 3 touch of death like game? Sort of shit like that. But as far as that is concerned, I'm glad that Project L will service, you know, player dissatisfaction and will offer regular patches, right? It's not going to be like a fucking DNF duel situation where like, you know, a random patch like out of nowhere. No, this game is going to get continual patches, and the devs will be looking for bugs and fixes to make the game a much more quality type of game. For players all around, you know. Regarding combos, Project L hopes that players will be rewarded for difficult combos, but they do not want combos to be too long and make the losing side feel helpless, hopeless, or uninterested. Yeah, I mean, I take like slight offense to that because, you know, like I love like combo game, right? If I want to do a long combo and make like a long scratch your head like explore the infinite possibilities type of combo, I want to do that. I love combos. I'm the combo fiend, right? I always want to fish out combos in any game that I want to play a fighting game on, you know? Because combos are cool and sick. The feeling for a lot of like, you know, fighting game players, or at least like, you know, casual players that will be going into like this game, is that, you know, combos don't definitely like interest you, right? Because, you know, it's like what was it? The last paragraph was saying, or this paragraph was saying, too long-winded or one-sided, right? Definitely been through the woodwork and experience from Power Rangers Battle for the Grid and Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so I know for certain that like long combos can be like a little bit boring to watch, right? Because I got hit, so I can't do anything. I don't have a burst. I don't have anything. Unless, you know, in a specific case like Ultimate Marvel 3 where they do like a TAC combo, then I can possibly like RPS like act about it, you know? But if you got hit, that you got hit. Just like, not to be rude, don't get hit. That's the nature of Capcom like versus games, right? If you got hit, well, sucks to be you, right? That's how it works. It's just that like new player, it's just that like a lot of new games have like very defensive mechanics, like a burst or anything like that that could get them like out of a combo, right? And that's cool and all, right? But don't try to like add that to like every other like subgenre of like a fighting game, like a versus style, because you know, you can have that. You can have that, like Dragon Ball FighterZ has like a fucking X Factor like sparking that you can, I think, like hit if you're on like hit, but I'm not totally too sure because it's been a long time since I played FighterZ. But yeah, like for better or worse, you know, don't get hit. Just try to pace like the neutral, and if you get hit, well, sucks to be you. Competition organizers do not have to worry because L will be able to hold the game in the same event as other fighting games. That's good. That's good. Give it a little bit more limelight, a lot more equal opportunity with a lot of the other fighting games that are going around. And from what I've heard from a lot of FGC content creators is that they are looking out for Project L and what news will they like bring, what news will the Project L devs bring to the table, and FGC players, competitive players, and content creators are looking out for this game because it's going to be that one game that breaks the mold, you know? Players do not have to worry because becoming a professional L player will not prohibit them from playing other fighting games. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, on a philosophical perspective, I mean, you can't force a player to just play Project L all the damn time, right? Every person has like different interests and tastes, right? So you can't like restrict them. I don't think that's that should be like necessary. Like, bro, that sounds like weird coming from like, you know, a dev like thing. But then again, this is like Project L. They are very like sensitive like that. So, could be fair. Working hard to coordinate with PlayStation and hope to create a fighting game with the same input lag across all platforms. Oh, so they're trying to like team up with Sony and they want to reduce like the input lag. Okay, that's fair, right? But I think they'll probably do it on like PC, right? Because if League is like a fucking PC-ass PC game, then they should definitely put it on the same They should definitely put it on the same hardware as fucking the game that it originated from. Right? So it feels kind of like, okay, you can stretch your hand, right? But sometimes stretching that hand may not be necessary, since like that hand is already like in use. You know? But that's cool. A lot of new info for Project L, and I'm super ecstatic for that. You know, a lot of like good things are coming out for Project L. I made like reactions, and the game definitely looks cool, right? The game definitely is a fucking banger. But yeah, I just don't like the pace that they're doing like their trailers, right? Or not even trailers, or their development cycle. It feels like we get one like a Project L announcement or a thing every once a year, or almost like every half a year, right? So it's a little bit like rough. It's a little bit rough to say the least, right? But if we get Project L stuff that are banger and are cool, then I'm all the one for it, right?